I didn't really have any thoughts at all about the Muslim religion. I just didn't know anything about it, never really gave it any thought. And it wasn't until 9/11, just different attacks, and then all of a sudden it was like in my face, and it was slowly, I had a hatred for terrorists. But then the problem came when I stopped separating Muslims from terrorists. I started just lumping them all in together. And I would, if I seen Muslims walking down the street, I'd be very uncomfortable and I'd be angry. Just anger would come over me just by the sight of them.
بعد هجمات 11 من سبتمبر التي شنتها حركات متطرفة في أمريكا وقيام الولايات المتحدة بغزو العراق وأفغانستان وتدميرها البلدين بحجة مكافحة الإرهاب، ثم تصاعد الصراع بينها وبين الحركات الإرهابية، اقتنع تيد بأن الإسلام هو سبب بهذه المواجهة الدموية، وبأن المسلمين كل المسلمين هم الخطر الداهم الذي يهدد الإنسانية. زاد اقتناعه بالفكرة يوما بعد يوم جراء ما يشاهده في الإعلام الغربي، وما عزز نظرته السلبية للدين الإسلامي. هجوم شارلي هيبدو في باريس والذي نفذته جماعات راديكالية ردا على المجلة التي نشرت صورا ساخرة للنبي محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم، قرر تيد الدفاع عن بلده ضد الإسلام والمسلمين، وخطط لتنفيذ هجوم مسلح على مسجد يقع في مدينته.
It wasn't until I came home when I was drunk, pulled into my driveway. The mosque is right next door, and I looked over and I was like, oh yeah, that's right, the Paris attacks. And I started wondering, I said, I wonder if there's any extremists in there. And I had this wild idea I was going to fire some rounds off, and I had this stupid idea that if there was any extremists in there, they would take notice and be afraid.
So the attack that happened on our mosque happened just after the attacks in Paris. And as police responded, it became clear that while the mosque was shot, local authorities solved the crime. FBI came in to prosecute because it was clear it became a hate crime.
هاجم تيد المسجد في هذا البيت ومن هذه النافذة تحديدا، مستخدما رشاشا أطلق منه عشرات الطلقات تجاه الجامعة. كان تيد بحالة من الثمالة والسكر الشديد عند قيامه بالهجوم.
The neighborhood and the whole community was really panicked, and they were calling me a terrorist. Oh, wait a minute, I'm not a terrorist. And then I realized, yes, I am. Look what I did. Trying to protect the community from terrorists, and I became one. Everybody's guilty, including me. Other Muslims are guilty because sometimes they misinterpret the Holy Quran, and then the media takes that and they'll exploit it. As a Muslim, you're supposed to kill Christians. And I had believed that for the longest time. I thought that if you were Muslim and I didn't convert, you had to kill me. And the media kind of was pushing that. It was just a combination of everybody not understanding and taking the time. Read the Holy Quran. See what's in it for yourself.
قبضت الشرطة على تيد وألقت به في السجن، وأثناء المحاكمة حاوره زعماء الجالية الإسلامية ووجدوا أنه ضحية للإعلام المضلل شوه سمعة المسلمين عمدا، فتنازلوا عن حقهم وأوكلوا له محامي على نفقة المركز الإسلامي لعدم امتلاكه للمال. حكم على تيد بالسجن 6 أشهر، وبعد خروجه من السجن وجد أن زوجته طلقته ومنعته من الدخول للمنزل بقرار من المحكمة.
He had a different picture of Islam. He asked us questions about that in the Quran it says that Jews and Christians cannot be your friends and you should kill them wherever you see them. What we explained to him is look at the context of those verses. And when you read the Quran without context, you can misinterpret it any way you like. And we actually showed him the context where, whether that was in the Battle of Hunain or whether that was part of Battle of Tabuk at the life of Holy Prophet Sallallahu
We stood in front of the judge and we said to the judge that we forgive him and don't give him any time in jail. He was still convicted. We also had a relationship in jail with him as well, and so our bond started to develop from that standpoint. And I think, alhamdulillah, I just think it's because of the teachings of Islam, that teaches us to forgive someone, and also our motto, which is love for all, hatred for none.
وجد تيد الترحيب مجددا من الجالية الإسلامية ورحبوا به في المسجد.
I really have no excuses, and I don't think you could imagine the amount of regret I have.
And I looked over at my house where I was getting a divorce and I wasn't allowed to be there. And I just stopped for a second and just looked, and it was just so, I couldn't wrap my head around. I'm like, wait a minute, I'm going into the mosque that, you know, I just shot not too long ago, and I can't go to my house. I'm not allowed there, but I am allowed here. And they welcomed me with open arms and accepted the apology. A touching moment because everybody shook my hand and hugged me, and you knew you were forgiven.
حفر تسامح الجالية معه أثرا عميقا في نفس الرجل الأمريكي، حتى صار واحدا من أكثر المتحدثين عن تسامح الإسلام وصديقا للجالية الإسلامية بالمدينة، يحضر كل فعالياتها.
The banner on the wall, love for all, hatred for none, and I'm living proof that it works.